Aloha, kind people. Welcome to Uloo Talks, Feed Your Curiosity. I'm Ferchi, your host and a happy islander from Uloo, the app that guides you to learn, grow, and live your best life with the guidance from expert coaches and support from like-minded souls. In this episode, we are going to talk about money, more specifically, our relationship with money and how we spend our money. This is a huge and important topic for us millennials as we are currently working, hustling, jumping into businesses, and doing all our best to pursue the so-called financial freedom or financial harmony. And our today's guest is the perfect person to give us some hints on how to achieve financial harmony. Our guest today is Faris AlSalih, a business development expert with a mathematics and computer science background. His former life experiences have led him to research personal finance, cracking the code to reach the state of financial freedom, in which he found that financial harmony begins with our core values and healthy financial habits. He now partners with his son in creating a new tool to help people build and maintain healthy habits when it comes to spending money. Hello, Faris. Welcome to Uloo Talks.
Hello, hi, Fergie. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. So first thing first, to clarify the important terms of today's discussion, what does financial harmony mean? What are the criteria for a person to say that they have reached financial harmony or that state of financial freedom?
The way I see it, that there are two different states.
Right.
First, we were talking about financial harmony, and that occurs when your behavior, which is related to finances, it runs with your values. It's in accordance with your values.
Right.
Regarding spending, you are buying things you truly appreciate. You are not allowing external influences, for example, like, let's say, social pressure, peer pressure, mass media or advertising influence to dictate what you purchase or not purchase, you know?
Yeah.
And the same goes for savings and investments. So you are really trying to isolate the influences as much as possible. It's not 100% possible, but try to make a decision really your own.
Right.
And in case of, for example, a couple living together or a family with children, financial harmony happens when all members, including the children, would follow common principles. So they understand them and why they are important and why all should be following these principles. So this kind of like an accord, or let's say an agreement between all the family members. That would be harmonious financial relationship between all of them. So that means the children would not be let's say forcing things on parents because parents are emotional, and children could pressure parents as much as anyone. And so in financial freedom, that's the other term that you mentioned, is a state where you have built a financial base, where you can stand on it, for example, in 10 years and 15 years, 20 years time, and all the way to your pension.
Right. Yeah.
So that's like either it's an income source or if it's an asset that you have regenerate some income, but it's passive. That means you don't put much effort in it because you have other jobs.
Perfect. So these are the two states and kind of like related in financial. And we're going to talk specifically about millennials here, as they are currently sitting in the productive age, and most of the millennials have finance or wealth as the main priority of their life in this stage. What do you say are the main financial challenges that millennials are facing right now in terms of achieving financial harmony?
Okay, so there are few challenges. If you start listing them, you can gather a group of them, at least a big collection of them under one heading: distractions. So because at this age, we all at this time where we live, we have all access to unbelievably large number of sources for online entertainment, education, and and connecting with each other. All these things provide distractions for us. So distractions from focus on ourselves, on our values, on our activity, to look at our behavior, to be mindful of these things. So I think this is the biggest challenge everyone actually is facing, not only millennials, I think, even more the younger generation. Yeah.
And it is really interesting also, like how you mentioned that everything is centered on our values, because like we need to be more mindful, we need not to get distracted. So it's more about values and behavior in our financial, while a lot of people are focusing more on income and how to get more money, because like they think like, okay, like to be good in finance, meaning that I have more money. So it's like, I need to work more, I need to have more income. But what you explain here is more about the values in spending. So could you explain more about this value-based approach of yours?
The thing is, even if your objective is just collecting money, you might, if I succeed in that, and you find yourself even with at a younger age having a big amount, but if you're lacking the wisdom or the knowledge or the expertise, then this money is not really secure.
Yeah.
Lots of people, if you have, these guys who win the lotteries, and without any experience, they lose it within a few years, because it's all because they have no experience in how to spend it, why to spend, and how to invest it and keep it, and even grow it. Actually, that's what you should be doing. What I'm saying is that you should base your behavior, spending behavior, investing behavior, on your values. So find out what you really want to do with this money. Again, it relates to taking yourself out from all the influences,
Yeah, true. How big money that we can win or we can get, but if we spend it not wisely, then it will just evaporate.
Right, and also invest it wisely. If it's a big amount, and even let's say you make a business deal and you have an amount that you could really, for example, buy real estate or buy some stocks or whatever, you should do that, and not keep it in cash, because then you will be always tempted to spend it. So this is kind of like one of the behaviors that you should be teaching yourself.
True. And it is really interesting because like currently you have a team challenge in Uloo, and you will be guiding us now like through this discovery of our values. But could you explain here a bit about how can we define our values, and what kind of values are we talking about here?
So the values can be divided into two parts. The general principles you adhere to. Let's say, I like to be honest with people. I like to be, let's say, true to myself, or I like to be social with people. These are basic things, but these are, let's say, values that you cherish. It's in you. Probably you learned it from your parents and that. But because of the influences, you might think, okay, you might lose track of these values by doing making some mistakes in your spending behavior, because you're losing sight of these values. So this is one thing. You should know which they are. You should be of them, but also you have to translate them into any values should be translated into different types of activities that correspond to it, or behaviors that correspond to it. So all this, our exercise is just to first recognize which ones that we cherish the most. And once we realize these are the items that we value, then we start looking for, how can I manifest these values? How do they come out in my behavior? And especially in our challenge is, how does it come in terms of spending, our behavior and spending? So this is what we're talking about, values that are core values for you, a very short list. And on that, you start looking into your history try to emulate the good sides, try to bring out these values. And from now on, we should be mindful of them. And then the next step, we would be like reminding ourselves with those. So being mindful, for example, put them on the fridge, for example, a sticker, or even
make reminders.
I have them on my home screen, for example. I look at them every day. Once in a while, every few days, I notice one of them, and I just think about it. What did I do today to prove that, that I am following this?
Yeah. So anchoring all actions, decisions, and behaviors towards these core values that we have found, reflecting on our past or what we like today, like what we cherish, and really just like consciously applying that daily.
Exactly. Consciously. That's the difference between when we automatically behave, do things without thinking, and when do we do things mindfully.
Yeah. And probably this would be like the next challenge, because like maybe like applying these values would be easier, because like this is something that we cherish and we just need to do it consciously and by putting these anchors and reminders. But do you have any tips on how to stay on track in building these behaviors, building these habits that are aligned to our values and not break them? Because for sure, like there would be like this distractions, as you mentioned, like the main challenges. How do we stay on track?
I think the best way to do that, and that's a big challenge. I mean, this is a good question, because you are as a person, you're in a group of people anywhere where you are, and these people have influence on us whether we like it or not.
For sure, yeah.
Our core group that we are surrounded with, for example, the family, my partner, whoever, even some people at work might be like, you have a good relationship with them, as you meet them at coffees, or outside the work, have a beer with them or whatever. They have influence. If you're sitting with someone, friends or not friends or colleagues, they have anything they say could influence you without you noticing.
Yeah.
So my advice is try to get as many people on board as possible from the core group that you live with. These guys should have a good understanding of what you are what you're trying to achieve, and they should also try to sell the idea to them and try to get them into practicing it also.
Okay.
So I mean, as a family, these basic spending values should be the same, because in the end, the financial future is actually a group future. So if one partner makes a lot of money, it's good for both of the partners, both of the couple, or if it's a family, it's good for everyone. And that way, I think it's very important that to get everyone on board, and that's the solution. If you understand your values, you practice it every once in a while. Whenever you spend something, try to understand why you're doing this. What does it serve? Does it serve a social value? Does it serve your own values as a person? Then you have to define them and make it visible to everyone around you.
Yeah. Doing it together with them. Yeah.
Right. And you will find that people, if they get on board with you, they understand that will be the biggest support for the whole idea and for the whole team.
This kind of accountability group, so we're not doing it alone, and to have like these challenges, these barriers of distractions, but like doing it together. So those influences can become good influences, and we're aligning together. Yeah,
exactly. And that's where you get your harmony from.
Exactly. Yeah. And what are the next steps? Let's say like we have these healthy spending habits. Are there any next steps to get to just not aligning like with the financial harmony, but like to get also like to the financial state of freedom?
Because we remember in one of the slides we did in the first session, we had a path, or let's say a route that takes you from income, from generating income to financial freedom. And in these three steps, you should, first of all, if you control your spending, you will be able automatically to get into the savings mode. And if you have that, you will accumulate an amount, relatively a good amount, in a few thousand euros or few $1,000s. That would be enough to start something, even less than that. And when you start saving, you start automatically also looking for investment opportunities. And nowadays, there are, in difference to a lot of opportunities. In difference to 30 years ago, if you go to a Swiss bank, I mean, probably they're still now. you have to at least have $100,000 to open an account. So So now it's the opposite. Easier. You can it's so easy, much easier to invest in anything. You just open an account and a few $100s, you can already start, and just to put it there and leave it to grow. If you long-term investment.
And still, like, aligning those investment to our values again.
Exactly. So if you're like environmental freak, you really love to let's say participate in improving our environment, then you should, of course, go for the green investments.
Invest on what we believe in, basically.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is a very interesting conversation, and the last thing that I would like to ask you is, do you have any advice or motivations for millennials, specifically to get to, at least just to start this journey for financial harmony?
The millennials, they are, in many ways, they're smarter than the older generation. And I think they are aware that they should do something, because they cannot rely on what their parents relied on at that time, like a pension and whatever. These things are not so secure anymore. So in that sense, everyone knows how important this thing is. So I would advise, start building assets immediately, as fast as you can. Put some money aside and put it in investment. Don't put it in a bank account. Anyway, cash doesn't bring anything right now. It's up to you to educate yourself. So when you get educated, you will actually get motivation and maintain it. And that's the important thing. If you have like even a few $100s in the bank and you leave it in an investment, next year you look at it, it's grown by, I don't know, 20%. It will be exciting, So I would advise to start early, learn, and be patient.
Be patient,
Don't look for quick fixes, Go around after the hype. But you should try, and you should always base any step you do in terms of spending, in terms of investing, on your values, again, as we said before. Then you'll be satisfied and you'll be motivated.
True. And when we again anchor all of this investment for the next steps to our values, then we would be patient, we would be more mindful and conscious about our decision, which to invest and when to invest as well. We will do our research, so it's not going to be like kind of like a quick cash, like expecting like it's going to be tomorrow, like 20%.
Exactly. So it's a good way to learn patience if you're not patient. Just get into a long-term investment, and that's also, it's very, very emotional thing. You're always between greed and fear.
True.
You maintain it, and by giving it some time, and never lose your eyes off your values.
That is really a good and insightful conversation and discussion that we have today. So for everyone that wants to learn more about financial harmony, you can get in touch with Faris. He is a financial harmony coach in Uloo, and you can join his team challenge or get one-on-one coaching session with him. Thank you for tuning in and listening to this episode of Uloo Talks, Feed Your Curiosity. To begin your personal growth journey, download Uloo and join a team challenge today. See you in the next episode and have a great day.